Hey, how's it going? Rich from Elk Endeavors. Hey, tonight I wanted to wrap up my sort of study of Brian Tracy's 10, oh, hello, 10 principles, 10 personal power principles. And I wanted to get that wrapped up for you and enjoy myself doing that. I think my cat here is going to enjoy that as well. But before I get started, I wanted to let you know that please, if you like what I've done here and you've enjoyed this, please share these videos with your friends and neighbors. If there's a particular one on a particular subject that you've enjoyed, please let me know, and please, share that. Please subscribe to my video, subscribe to my channel. Do all the things that you need to do in order to keep hearing from me. And I really appreciate that. I really appreciate the support, and hopefully I'm providing as much support for you as possible. So just to get it, I have my list up here behind me, or behind you, I should say. I'll check that periodically. But I think the biggest thing to take away from this this study is that the principles that Brian Tracy talks about, they're all, and I've been saying this, so if hopefully if this is your the only one that you've seen, the only video that you've seen, then you'll kind of get it all in one in one shot. But all these principles, the 10 C's, are simply a conglomeration of all the other success principles that have been created. So, and again, I no disrespect to Brian Tracy. He's one of the people that have gotten me this far. And I really mean that. These are the things that I really pay attention to. But ultimately, these 10 personal power principles are, they're simply the same thing that we've talked about in a different way, right? They're just said in a different way. So Earl Nightingale didn't put things together into 10 C's. Jim Rohn didn't have 10 C's. He had a different way of saying all these things. And they might not have been organized, right? They might not have been organized this way. But the ultimate point is that if you want to be successful, you have to do the things that Brian Tracy talks about and all these other mentors talk about, because the proof here, the most important thing, is that this all has come from since the Bible, right? And probably any other religious book, that there is, the Quran, whatever, the Old Testament, New Testament, whatever. They all kind of say the same thing, that you have to have these things. You have to be, nice to people. You have to ask and you shall receive, those types of things. All these things get together and produce the 10 C's that I'll go over tonight with you. So the first one is clarity. And that we talked about in terms of, and I'm going to try to, link these back to affiliate entrepreneurship and affiliate marketing, because that's where I'm going with it. And that's sort of my take and the important part that I want you to be aware of. And so the first one is clarity, and making sure that you have your goals. So if I've talked about my goals. I have them sitting right here with me. And actually, I've been kind of bad speaking, because they've been down here, because I've memorized them, like these two, especially these two, because these have been laminated. I've had these since February, right? These are my big, grandiose goals. And then these guys, like the ones that aren't laminated, I don't have them laminated for a reason. I don't want these to be long-term goals. I want them to be, to knock them out and be done with them. So this one's September. This one's December 13th. This is my kayaking meteor shower goal. And once they're done, then I put them in my pile of achieved goals and move on and create new goals. So that's a really important thing. So I carry these with me all the time. And read them every day and work with them. So clarity, being clear about your goals and writing them down, that's essential. Every single person will tell you that you have to write them down. Otherwise, they just don't, it doesn't synthesize in your brain the same way, and you don't have something to go back to and say, am I working, what did I do toward my goal today? What have I done to meet my goal today? So the second clarity, the second, I'll just say one, just for time's sake, is competence. You have to be competent in what you're doing. Competent, right? Not confidence. That's the 10th one. you have to be competent in what you're doing, and so you have to know that you have to have the skills and the knowledge in order to succeed in anything, and that's true of any job, any profession. You have to be competent, or otherwise you're not going to be successful. You can't build a house if you don't know how to do the construction work, right? If there's a story that Brian Tracy tells that that talks about, and actually this falls under creativity, but like, there's a guy he's watching a construction job in Chicago, and the construction workers are building the corners of the building. They're bricklaying the building, the corners of them first, and so the guy went over to the workers, and he was like, well, why aren't you doing why are you doing it so slowly? And they said, well, that's how we do it. And so he figured out a way to build the corners and the center. So the corners were being built and the centers were being built, and then he like ran over the whole of Chicago. Like, he had all the construction jobs in Chicago because he made it more efficient. So he was, and so you have to be competent in your job. And that was more of a creative thing, but like, that if they had known that, or if they had thought through that, they would have done more. They would have been doing things more efficiently. So next one, concentration. You have to be able to concentrate. I talked about how I keep my phone on airplane mode. I try to keep my phone on airplane mode. When I'm at home, when I'm with my kids, and when I'm working. Like if I'm writing something, like for my business, I try to keep my phone on airplane mode. And actually, I'm concerned because I usually put my phone on airplane mode for a video because it will cut it off. So I forgot to do that. So hopefully I won't get cut off here. But yeah, so concentrating, you have to have common sense. You have to just like sort of know when to do things, and you have to build your, like, the way you would do things in normal life, like you've lived your life. So what has worked for you, what hasn't, but having that common sense to know when to do things is really important. And then we talked about creativity, and thinking through, like, how would I want to do this? How would I want to know this? How would I want to be taught? And then how can I teach this, right? That's an important piece as well. You have to be considerate. You have to love people, and you have to want to help people. That's where the golden rule is. Do unto others as you would have done unto you. People have to know that you're kind and that they can trust you. And if you're not considerate, if you're inconsiderate, you don't want to work with anyone who's inconsiderate. And so why would someone want to work with you, right? If you're inconsiderate. So that's something that you really have to be thinking about. Let's see. You have to be consistent. I've tried to model this with my videos, and like, knowing, you guys know that I've been making videos for like 60 or 70 days now. I have 80 blog posts. I think I passed 80 last night. So I'm really proud of that because I've been consistent in this. And it's a long haul. Like, this is not like, today is in particular is not an easy day for me to like have to take time to make a video, but I have pledged to my subscribers and to the people who follow me that I'm going to do this, so I'm going to do it. And that's a really important thing, because if I'm not consistent, and if I show any inconsistency, then my followers aren't, my email subscribers, I shouldn't say my followers, but like the people who are depending on me to provide a service. If I'm inconsistent with that service, then they're not going to depend on me anymore. They're going to move on to someone else. And I can't help them if they move on to someone else. So that's a really important piece. You have to be committed, right? You can't do all this stuff without being committed, and you'll figure it out. Like there's some things that you're committed to, and if you can't be committed to something, it shows up pretty readily, right? Like like if you start doing something and you realize, like, oh man, this is not what I thought it was, or this is not something that I can continue to do with fidelity, then you move on, right? And that's okay. Like, so long as you find something that you can do with fidelity, and that it's serving your purpose, and it's meeting your needs, and meeting other people's needs, then that's fine. But making sure that you have that purpose and that you can commit to is important. And then yesterday I talked about I think Friday I talked about courage, and the courage that it takes to like move on and take that leap into a new business, like I'm talking about, or into anything, into a marriage, into having a child, into going to school, like all those things they take courage. It takes courage to do those things, and it takes understanding that that you are able to do the things that you need to do, and that's where confidence comes in. If I like, and I've said this before, like if I like before anybody else, I bet on myself. If I don't, if I'm wondering if I can get something done, I will always bet on myself, and if and I won't bet on myself if I know I can't. But if it's something that I'm interested in, something I'm committed to, something that all meets all these C's, then I'm jumping in, and I will take over, and I will do what needs to be done to win, and to succeed. And that, like I don't mean to sound arrogant with that, like, but like you have to be able to say that. You have to be able to say, like, if all else fails, like, I'm betting on myself. That's all there is to it. I bet on myself, because if you can't bet on yourself, then you have to kind of bring that to the table, and get to that point where you will bet on yourself, in order to succeed. So that's what I wanted to talk about tonight. I wanted to kind of wrap this. I wanted to wrap up my study of Brian Tracy's 10 C's, and I hope it's been a really good experience for you. Again, all of this goes back to I try to tie this all back to affiliate marketing. My program is the 4% Success Challenge. It's absolutely changed my life, and this is where I've learned all these things from Brian Tracy, from Jim Rohn, from Vic Stryzius, from Russell Brunson. Like it's like this sort of family tree that I never even knew existed, but it's really cool, and that's where my life has changed so much, because of these people who have come into my life. I had no idea that this was going to happen, but now that it has, I wouldn't trade it for the world. So, and I really hope that you take the challenge and take a look at the 4% Success Challenge. Get in there, get it done, and move into a really, really good place in your life. So I wish you all the best. I appreciate you watching, and we'll talk to you again soon. Thanks a lot. Have a great day.